My son and I are flying out. I booked the aisle and window in case the flight wasn't full. If it was full, we would let the middle person choose aisle or window. We get to our row, and there is someone in the window. We check our seats. She looks away, pretending she doesn't see or hear us. It's fine for us, since we were going to take the middle seat anyways. Then this guy comes and says he has the middle seat in our row. I explain we have the aisle and the window, but this woman sat down first. Turns out she had the middle seat on the other side. Now she is squished between two large dudes. She didn't even steal the correct side.
Why does seat stealing come up so often? I swear every time I scroll Reddit, there's another Karen sat in my spot post. Like, do these people think plane tickets are general admission? You literally paid for that exact seat. It's printed right there on your boarding pass. It happened to us too last year. We told them they were in our seats, and they ignored us. So I said it a little louder just in case they didn't hear. They looked at us and then to the group of people in front of them. Apparently, they were the only two people who got seated separate from their group, so they went, "We got here first." I showed them our tickets and said we paid for the seats. An old lady from their group literally shouted, "Just ignore them, they will leave." Good thing a stewardess got to us and verified our tickets and made them move to their proper seats. We got the stink eye and grumblings from their group saying, "We're so sensitive and it's just seats."
I was surprised when it happened to me. I always get a window seat. And when I got to my row, there was an older couple sitting in middle and window seats. I politely said, "I have the window seat." And they started, "Oh, we're all settled in now. Our stuff is under the seats. Seatbelts are fastened." Fine. I took the aisle seat, inflated my pillow, and put a blanket over my head. I always rest, not dead sleep, on flights, so I'm raring to go at my destination. A couple hours in, I heard the husband saying he had to pee. They went back and forth for a few minutes about what to do and their plan to then change seats, which had been too much of an effort before. Then I felt a nudge. I took off my blanket shield, looked at him, and he explained he had to go to the lav. I got up and remained standing in the aisle, waiting for his return. The wife said I could have the window seat. I said no. She started moving all her stuff over and sat in the middle seat. I ignored her. When the husband came back, he saw me standing, looked at his wife, who told him she said she isn't moving now. He asked me if I wanted the window seat. I just said no, and then waited while they moved everything back, put the blanket back over my head, and listened to them complain how rude I was for the rest of the flight. Maybe think about your aging bladder before you steal my seat.
It's unfortunately happened to me, and oddly enough, I lost that battle. But it worked out. I was flying from Philly back home to Vegas, and I always specifically order a window seat because of my anxiety. I knew I was going to need it pretty bad this time, as I had not stopped crying for over a week at that point because my father had just passed away. I was flying home from his funeral. I get to my seat, and this older lady is sitting there. I double-check my ticket and politely tell her she's in my seat. I go to show her my ticket, and she literally just says, "Fuck off, find another seat." Wow. I'm in no mood for confrontation, and I'm now crying harder. I get a flight attendant, and he goes over and talks to her, back and forth for what feels like 5 minutes. The flight attendant comes over and is like, "She is refusing to move. We'll just find you another seat." I explained to him I paid for a window seat on purpose. I'm like, "Look at me. I am a literally walking puddle. I just want to coil up by the window and cry for the rest of my flight in peace." He says okay, and to give him a moment, he leaves and comes back and takes me all the way up to the front, 5th row, window seat. My original seat was like way back in the 20s. Old bitch might have won, but I got to get off the plane hella fast.
This didn't happen on a plane, but in a concert. My wife really wanted to see Shakira, so I splurged on floor seats for her. Walked up to seats, ladies sitting in them. I looked to confirm it's our seats, and when I approached them, the lady was very kind and said, "I know our seats are 4 seats down, but those ladies asked us to move over." When this lady, a few seats over, approaches and says something like, "Would you guys mind sitting on the edge because some of my friends joined us in this row?" I didn't respond and told the ladies in our seats to move down. The issue was between them two, and I wanted my seats. The annoying lady is still trying to get my attention when she said, "Hello? Are you listening to me?" And I snapped and said, I am, but you haven't said anything worth responding to, so I haven't. Either fuck off to your seats or deal with them, but I'm sitting in my seats. She had the nerve to call me an asshole, so I decided to be one. Went to get the usher, and they were moved. The nerve on them was wild when I had assigned seats on the floor.
I've only had it happen once to me personally, and it was a doozy. I was having issues with claustrophobia and panic attacks when flying, but there was a trip that couldn't be avoided. I booked and paid a fortune for a seat in the first class bulkhead row, as it would have the most space. I boarded near the front of the queue with Group 1. Then I found out a visibly disabled woman and her caregiver had pre-boarded and taken the bulkhead seats. I looked like a bitch for insisting they give me back my seat as I fought back a panic attack. The flight attendants wanted nothing to do with it and told me I was holding up boarding. If this woman knew she needed the bulkhead, it should have been handled with the gate agent and not by seat stealing and hoping for sympathy. Eventually, the caregiver moved back to her assigned seat. The passenger assigned to the seat occupied by the disabled woman agreed to trade. It was a 4 or 5 hour flight, and the caregiver came up every 15 minutes to check on her companion while giving me dirty looks. Yep, I'm going to help for this one.
One time, I got to my seat and there was already someone in it. I pulled out my ticket and checked that it said 20A. I said, 20A? And she just looked confused. This was flying Paris to Boston, so I tried saying Van Ah. Her eyes got big and she pulled out her ticket. It also said 20A. So we called over a flight attendant. It turns out that she was on the wrong airplane. The airline had swapped planes, but only made the announcements in English.
Happened to me last week. I paid for the seat to be on the window. It was a short flight, 1 hour early in the morning, so I could doze off without bothering my fellow passengers. When the time came for boarding, there was no issue until I got to my seat. This woman, seated next to what I assumed to be her husband, was already making herself comfortable, and I looked at her with brows disappearing into my receding hairline. She looked at me and simply said, "That's my seat," pointing to a seat in front of her. People were bustling behind me, trying to find their seats, and it was almost go time, so after giving her a set of dagger looks, I sat in her seat. As the plane got ready to fly, I noticed something. It wasn't as noisy as I thought it would be. I took a look outside and realized why. My original seat was located right next to the engine, but hers wasn't. Throughout the flight, I dozed off peacefully. When we landed, I saw her got up first, but looking frazzled. "Lady, I sure am glad you took my seat."
I'm glad you made it to the end. Thanks for watching, and now I'm looking forward to hearing your stories about how someone took someone else's place in the comments.